Hey everyone, and welcome. I am so incredibly glad you're here. So, this explainer is basically going to be your ultimate roadmap, your step by step directions for our very first assignment in Foundations of Purpose and Special Education Literacy. We are kicking off a truly important journey together, digging into literacy intervention for the kids who literally need it the most. But, before we get into all the heavy academic lifting, we really need to lay down the groundwork. We need to figure out who exactly is in the room with us, and honestly, what brought you to this super challenging but unbelievably rewarding field in the first place? So get comfortable, grab a notebook if that's your style, and let's get things rolling.
Okay, let's dive into this. There's a saying that understanding why we are here is just as important as what we will learn. And that right there, that is the entire core philosophy of our course. Straight out of the gate. Because look, in a field like special ed literacy, the what and the how, the strategies, the interventions, the endless data tracking, it can all feel a bit overwhelming sometimes. It is rigorous work. And on those tough days when progress just feels agonizingly slow, it's not your technical skills that keep you going. It's your why, your foundational motivation. So this first assignment, it's fundamentally about excavating that personal motivation and finally putting it into words. It's the anchor you're going to return to all semester long, and honestly, probably throughout your entire career.
So, section 3 is all about finding that why, which is going to be the absolute core of your introduction to the class. Moving right along to section 4, let's look at your initial post requirements and what exactly you need to include.
How do we actually go about doing this? Well, to start off, I want to be super clear. This assignment is a real, genuine opportunity for you to articulate your professional purpose. We are absolutely not looking for one of those run-of-the-mill, hey, my name is so-and-so and I like pizza discussion posts. The magic number to keep in mind here is 250. Your initial post needs to be a minimum of 250 words. Now, I know word counts can sometimes feel a bit arbitrary, right? But this minimum is there for a very specific reason. 250 words is kind of the sweet spot. It forces you to move past those surface-level intros. It requires you to be thoughtful, to reflect, and it makes sure your response is specific enough to give all of us a real sense of who you are as both a professional and a learner. So try not to think of it as a limit you have to drag yourself to, but rather the minimum space you need to truly unpack your own story.
To help you hit that depth, there are 4 key prompts you'll need to hit in those 250 words. Let's walk through them real quick. First up, who are you? Just share your academic background, your current role if you're already working in a school, and any relevant education experience. Second, why are you taking this course? Try to be really specific about what you're hoping to learn when it comes to literacy intervention and special ed. Third, why SPED? We're actually going to look at that one closer in just a second. And fourth, personal connection. Do you have a personal, academic, or professional connection to special ed or literacy struggles? This is your chance to bring in experiences with students, maybe family members, or even your own personal learning journey. If you connect these 4 dots, you'll naturally create a really comprehensive, multidimensional introduction.
Now, what's really interesting about this next part is that I want to heavily emphasize that specific question. Why SPED? Because this is the beating heart of your assignment. What drew you to special education as a field of study or practice? You know as well as I do, this is rarely a random career choice. People don't usually just wake up one day and stumble into special education. There's almost always a spark, a specific moment, a certain student, or a deeply held conviction that just pulled you in. I really want you to deeply consider that pull. When you sit down to write your draft, spend a good chunk of your time right here on this single question. Without a doubt, it's going to be the most revealing and powerful part of your entire introduction.
All right, section 8, engaging with your peers, which is how we actually go about building our learning community.
So, the crucial point is, once you've posted your initial thoughts, your job is really only half done. Look, an online or blended course can feel totally isolating if we let it. But the discussion board is where we foster a supportive, highly interactive environment. By openly sharing and responding to each other, we're actively laying the bricks for a network of support that you are definitely going to rely on. The big number to remember here is 3. You are required to respond to at least 3 of your classmates. And just like your initial post, there are a few guardrails to ensure quality. Each of those 3 replies needs to be between 100 and 150 words. And again, I promise this isn't busy work. Hitting 100 words takes actual effort. It means you've digested what your peer wrote and formulated a real substantial response. You're not just shouting into the void, right? You're actively listening and engaging.
Let's break down exactly how to craft a stellar peer response using 3 simple steps. Step 1, identify one point of connection. Find a shared experience, a shared motivation,
or a common goal in their post and call it out. Step 2, engage meaningfully with their ideas. Let me be clear, a simple "I agree" or "great post" is absolutely not going to cut it here. You have to explain why you agree, or maybe how their idea actually challenged your own perspective. And step 3, ask a question, extend their thinking, or relate their experience back to your own. This brilliantly illustrates how a basic discussion post magically transforms into an actual conversation. When you ask a question or push an idea just a little bit further, you're inviting them to reply back, which creates this amazing dynamic web of professional dialogue.
Moving to section 11, let's quickly cover tone and expectations, basically setting our ground rules for how we interact. Now that we know the what and the how, let's map out our timeline for the week. Honestly, feel free to snap a quick photo of this or jot it down right now. Today, your job is just to review the prompts we just talked about and start drafting your intro. Just get the ideas flowing, no pressure. Your first hard deadline is the first day of class. That initial minimum 250-word post is due by the first day of class, no exceptions. Then your second hard deadline is by the end of the first class. That is exactly when your 3 peer replies at 100 to 150 words each are due. I am anchoring these 2 strict assignment deadlines right now, so absolutely no one falls behind. Trust me, time management is going to be your absolute best friend here.
As we wrap up all these logistics, let's just take a second to talk about tone. This is a professional, welcoming space. Please be respectful, supportive, and engaged as we kick this course off together. Yes, this is a graduate-level environment, but it should also feel incredibly welcoming to everyone. We're going to be discussing topics that can sometimes get sensitive or personal, especially when we start talking about literacy struggles and special needs. So just a friendly reminder right now that respect and support are absolutely paramount. At the end of the day, we are all here to learn, to grow, and to help each other become the very best educators we can possibly be. Which brings us to our final thought. I want to leave you with a really powerful hook for your brainstorming process. What is your professional purpose? Please don't just rush through this assignment to check a box and get it out of the way. I challenge you to use this explainer, use these prompts, to truly dig deep and discover your underlying motivation in special education. When you can clearly articulate your professional purpose to others, you solidify it within yourself. I literally cannot wait to read your introductions and learn the why behind all the amazing educators in this course. Good luck drafting, have fun connecting with your peers, and let's get to work.